All right, so we're going to look at how we estimate and how we find the actual product of a multiplication problem. We're going to look at, let's take 1,238 times 4. This was one of the problems that you had yesterday on that assignment. We just went over part of it. So this is the third problem, problem number 9. So if you have it done, then follow along. If you don't have it done, then write it down as we work. Okay. First off, you need to know two things. What factors are. Factors are the numbers that are being multiplied together. So these are our two factors. The numbers that are being multiplied together. The answer is called the product. So when I use those vocabulary terms, you need to know what they mean. Factors, the answer is a product. This problem is written horizontally. Your eyes should be on me. If you're turned around talking to someone behind you, then your eyes are not on me. Not that I'm talking to anybody in particular that is turned around with a red shirt talking to someone else. If you have a multiplication problem and it is written horizontally, you're going to write it vertically. And you're going to put the largest number as your top factor. So I'm going to take 1,238 and I'm going to multiply that by 4. That is my original given problem. The original given problem. Now the directions say to estimate. Now estimation is simply me finding something that is easy for me to do in my head. When I estimate, I want to do it in my head, and I want to get an answer that's somewhere close to what I did. An answer that's somewhere close to what the real answer is going to be. It's not going to be exact, but it shouldn't be hundreds off. It shouldn't be thousands off. It should be fairly close. So I want to be able to do it in my head. You may do it differently, and that's fine, as long as our estimates are fairly close to the original answer. I'm not going to call it rounding. I mean, I am going to round it, but I'm not saying you always round to the hundredths place or you always round to whatever. I'm going to call it rounding to what makes it easy for me. And this problem, what would make it easy for me, would 1,200 times 4. I'm not going to change a one-digit number, because I can multiply by one-digit numbers very easily. So I'm not changing the one-digit number. But I want to make it easy for me to do in my head. I can do this in my head like that. So now I go through, and if there are trailing zeros in your factors, if they're at the back of your factors, you can just move them straight down here. And let me explain why. Because 4 times 0 is 0, 4 times 0 is 0. So they're just going to come down if you do the standard algorithm anyway. Okay? Now, I can look at a multiplication chart, because as long as you're not taking that stupid state test, you have access to your multiplication chart. So I can look at a multiplication chart and I can see what 12 times 4 is. I don't need to go 4 times 2 and 4 times 1. I can see what 12 times 4 is. And I'm going to get 48. Because 12 times 4 is 48. So my estimate is 4,800. Now, when I'm solving it for real, this is what happens every year. I get panic eyes when you have multi-digit multiplication. If you know one-digit multiplication, if you can read a multiplication chart It doesn't matter how many digits are in your factor. All you have to be able to do is one-digit multiplication and adding. If you can do those two things, piece of cake. One-digit multiplication and adding. That's it. So I am just doing one digit by one digit at a time. I can use my multiplication chart. 4 times 8 is, I look at my multiplication chart, I say it's 32. So that's 32 ones, or 2 ones and 3 tens. It's the same amount. 4 times 3, I look at my multiplication chart, it's 12. Well, now I have to count, or I have to add. I can do 12 times 3. So that's 15, or 12 plus 3 is 15. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. And 4 times 1 is 4. So the actual product is 4,952, which is near my estimate. Now it's more than my estimate because when I changed 1,238, I made this number smaller, 1,200. So if I make this number smaller, my estimate's going to be less than my actual product. Multiplying is easy. If you do one digit at a time, and you don't panic, and you don't freak out ahead of time. If you can multiply, division is easy. But what I need from you right now is to get in your head and tell yourself, you can do this. Because all it is one digit at a time. If you can multiply one digit at a time, then you can multiply no matter how many digits there are, and you can you can divide no matter how many digits there are. Just be brilliant like I know you are. Just be brilliant like I know you are. You got this. You can do this. You're super duper smart. Now what I want you to do next is I want you to check your grade. And you can do that by looking at that document. Second, I want you to watch the videos that are posted on the Classroom of Google of things we did October 7th. So that's what you're working on. Finish up this estimation portion, and we'll talk about the actual multiplication portion tomorrow.